My name is Calli Bigham, and my family has been going to the Avenue since I was about in fourth grade. I grew up going to church and in a pretty typical home, Christian home. Going to church and praying at home was very normal. So I always had this idea and belief, I feel like, in God, and I believe Jesus was real. And I think for me, the biggest thing that changed my life was going from believing in Jesus to following him and completely surrendering to him. I feel like God called me to missions when I went to Honduras with the Avenue. I came back from that trip and just immediately knew I wanted to pursue missions, wanted to potentially do that overseas or through like medicine, but I wasn't really sure of what that would look like. I hadn't fully surrendered to the Lord. I was still holding on to a lot of my own desires and chasing after things of the world. And for me, that looked like immediately going to college and getting involved in just the wrong group of friends and partying and drinking, and which leads to so many other things in college. I was holding on to all these desires I had for my life, all these things that I thought I could accomplish or dreams that I had, and God was saying, no, lay those down, like lay them down, surrender them to me, open up your hands to me and let me be the author of your life. Let me have full authority to direct you and guide you and to give you what the good gifts that I want to give you. So I knew at that point that the Lord was calling me into full-time ministry, but I didn't know specifically what that looked like or what I was supposed to do next. But I had worked at summer camp, and I knew some people there who went on this mission trip called the World Race. And from the moment I heard about that trip, my heart was just like, I gotta do that, I gotta go. The World Race is an 11-month-long mission trip to 11 different countries. And so each month you go to a different country and you partner with a ministry or a church that's already in the country. When I first signed up to do the World Race, there's a bunch of different routes with different countries that you can go to. And the first route I chose, it was one that went to all these cool countries that honestly, they're all like on the beach. And I was like, I want to do that one. That one looks cool. Through that process, I was praying that the Lord would take me where he wanted me to go, that I wouldn't go somewhere just because I and my flesh wanted to go there, but I would go there because that's where he wants me. There was a route on the World Race, which is like the most unreached region of the world. So I felt like the Lord was like, are you willing to go on that? And so I applied, but actually I was too young to go on it at the time. You had to be like a year older than what I was. And so I actually got rejected, or they told me I couldn't do it. But in that, I feel like the Lord is saying, I didn't have plans for you to actually go on that route, but I wanted to know that you were willing to go. What are you willing to do for me? After I got done with the World Race, I felt specifically that the Lord is calling me to move to Houston to join a missions team in Houston. And so I moved to Houston in December to join a ministry called the Keystone Project. And what the Keystone Project does is their main form of ministry is actually hosting discipleship trainings in South Dakota, but then they also have strategically placed mission teams in different cities throughout the U.S. where a lot of refugees are coming to live in, as well as just unreached peoples. And so I moved to Houston to join that missions team in December, and I live in an apartment complex that is predominantly the people that live there are refugees from Burma in my apartment complex. Then we have other team members in different locations throughout Houston who they're surrounded by a lot of people from Africa, from China, from the Middle East, from Malaysia, so just all over the world. And so we are living next to people who don't have access to hear about the good news of Jesus in their own country, but they happen to be living right next to us in a country where it's free to share the gospel. You don't have to worry about getting persecuted, or it's not against the law. And I think for me, the thing that I would want others to know, and what I just deeply, deeply desire other people to experience, is God's just satisfying presence and how he longs to be in communion with us. He longs to be in our presence and to know us. He says that he delights in us. And ultimately, what we often don't realize is that our souls long to delight and to be with God in his presence as well. Once you've tasted of that, of God's presence, and you've sat with him and you've let his presence just wash over you, there's nothing that you could ever chase after in this world that could compare to that. And that's what will make you and lead you to go from a place like me, where I was satisfied with my life, I was content with going to church on Sundays, I was content with being a good person. It'll make me go from that place to a place of complete surrender, saying, I want everyone to know about you, Lord. I want to go to the hard places. I want to go across the world. I want to go into places that are dangerous because I know that you're worth it. You're worth going because I know you'll be with me, and you're worth other people hearing about you.